This is my week 7 submission for the scenarios. This is EWhitefield, and this is for CIT326. All right, so scenario 1. Need to be able to explain to Ralph and Carl why you think the overuse of the sysadmin role can cause trouble and should be avoided at all costs. So basically how I would explain that is I would explain that the power, that the scope, the magnitude of what a sysadmin can do is all encompassing. It's everything. And basically anybody that you assign to the sysadmin role, they can go in and do anything, including dropping rows, tables, even deleting whole databases. And this is really kind of a dangerous tool to give somebody, especially if they're untrained and haven't actually had any education in what the sysadmin role is and what it's there for. So basically, this is a bad idea. In most professional scenarios, there are very few people who are actually granted the sysadmin role. And if there are cases where people need to have certain aspects of what a sysadmin can do, then we can either use the built-in alternate types of database or of system roles, server roles, like the bulk admin or the creator, the disk admin, those kinds of roles. Or if there's something that doesn't fit into any one of those predefined buckets, then we can create our own roles that have the rights and only the rights that they need to have and nothing else. So that's how I would address that. Scenario 2, and you can see how that's done here. Scenario 2 is to create a login for Wreck-It Ralph that shows that he is an admin. This is very simple. You just create a basic create login, and then you assign him to the server role sysadmin and make him a member. And we can see that happened when we look here at the server role properties. We can see that Wreck-It Ralph is one of the sysadmins, as well as when we look at his actual login properties, we can see that he's been assigned to the sysadmin role as well. So pretty easy to do. Step B was about creating a job that would allow us to go in and see the different changes that had been made to the sysadmin role, whether somebody had been added, that kind of thing, when they were added. And so the basic view that we wanted was to create a table that looks like this. And it shows us who, with the role of sysadmin, basically who that person is, their principal member ID, and then the date that record was modified. This is an easy thing to create. You can see here that this is the basic scripting for creating that particular job, but it's actually easier just to go down to the SQL Server agent, go down to jobs, and go down to new job, which is going to bring up this window. And what that's going to allow us to do is to create a script that will work for this particular job for this sysadmin database. And I just named it check for sysadmin logins, and then created 2 steps. The first was creating a custom table, and that code went in here, and that just basically tells it to drop any existing one if there already is one for this date, otherwise to just create the table with these columns in it. And then the second step was to take the query that actually gives us that table that we were looking at and inserts it into that new table that we created. And when you run that job, you can just go here to start job and then just start at step 1. Go ahead and run it. You'll see that it runs successfully, and you can go back up here and run this system, and you can see here's all of the things that have happened, and it shows that we did in fact add Wreck-It Ralph to the database, and I did that yesterday. So that's really it. There's not a whole lot more for this week. It's going to be very quick. I hope you have a great week, great weekend, and I will see you guys all next week.